Hello everyone. Before I begin reading from the diary today, I would like to show you this cast iron train engine. It had been my dad's, and before that it had been his father's, George Mervyn Farrier, born May the 10th, 1900, and he was Uncle Ernest's youngest brother. Now, these cast iron trains had been mass produced in the United States. Many firms had developed skills creating dies and molds, so it made these cast iron toys easily able to be produced in bulk. This engine is known as a floor model, which meant it was meant to be pushed along on the floor. Many of these trains did not end up surviving, however, as they broke very easily when they were dropped. So now I will begin reading as of March 7th, 1902. Uncle Alec, Aunt Emma, and Vera left for home today, he to drive and the rest go by the cars. I sawed a little wood today. Pa went to town today to represent the cheese factory, which was being sued by Mr. Frayne, and end it in favor of the plaintiff. March the 8th. The weather is somewhat colder today. Pa and I brought home 2 large loads of stone. We came down the Tay Pond as far as Glen Tay, and then came across by the side road. March the 10th. Yesterday, some of us went to church, and today, Pa and I went for stone and brought home 3 loads. The roads are getting very soft and poor, and there will soon be none in many places. March the 11th. Today is Ma's birthday. Pa and I went for stone and brought home 2 loads. This evening we tapped about 20 trees, and in most cases the sap started to run quite freely. March the 12th. We tapped about 35 more trees today, and after that Pa and I went down to Uncle Alfred's for a load of fence blocks. March the 13th. Today was very disagreeable, and it rained and then commenced snowing, and so we cleaned grain out of the granary. March the 14th. This forenoon we drew 2 loads of rails to be used in a fence across the swamp, and after doing that we tapped more trees. We have now about 75 trees tapped and hope to make a great quantity of syrup and sugar. Sunday, March the 19th. Pa and Ma went to town this forenoon, and this afternoon Pa went to a meeting. Uncle George left Perth today for Manitoba. The milk drawing contract was let today. Sam Gibson got the Scotch line for 85 cents. This is considerably more than it was last year. March the 17th. It rained yesterday, but today it was quite cold. We gathered the sap this morning, and this afternoon we sawed wood. March the 18th. We sawed and split wood today. The sap did not run very well. This evening, Pa and Ma went up to visit Mr. and Mrs. Johnny Farrier. March the 19th. We sawed and split more wood today. It was a cold day, and the sap ran poorly. March the 20th. We were sawing wood today. This evening, Pa and Ma went visiting. Friday, March the 21st. We are still working at the wood. The sap ran well today, but this evening I saw a flock of wild geese flying towards the south, and this is regarded by some as an indication of colder weather. Saturday, March the 22nd. Today is the 3rd anniversary of Uncle Alec and Aunt Emma's wedding day. We were informed today of the birth of another son to Alex Abercrombie. There was a meeting of the trustees and ratepayers of the section in the schoolhouse to consider whether they would move the building, and after some discussion, it was decided to adopt another site for it. Monday, March the 24th. Today is the 16th anniversary of Pa and Ma's wedding. Pa and I sawed and split more wood today. The sap ran fairly well in most places. Tuesday, March the 25th. We sawed and split more wood today. The sap ran better today than any other day of the season. Wednesday, March the 26th. This afternoon I went to town in the buggy, and Pa sawed wood. We had a large boiling today, about the biggest Ma thinks that we ever had. Thursday, March the 27th. We sawed and split wood today. The sap ran poorly today. School closed for its Easter vacation. Friday, March the 28th. Today is Good Friday. The day was cloudy, but no rain fell. I fear the sap season is about over, as the sap ran so well several days ago, and for the past 2 days has run scarcely at all. The farmers here are beginning the spring work. Mr. Hogan has begun plowing today. Mr. Moody fencing along the front field, and Mr. Hossey started fencing along the side of the front field next to us. March the 30th. It rained today, and so we cleaned grain this morning, and this afternoon Pa went to town. Monday, March the 31st. Yesterday was Easter Sunday, and I went to church with several of the others. Today was Easter Monday, and Pa and I finished the sawing of our cordwood. We have now only some big wood, which we meant to cut with the crosscut saw. With today, another month is brought to a close. Changes to have taken place since the 1st of March. It is the beginning of the month, deep snow covered, now scarcely any is to be seen. Sugar making has come, and some of it is now over since the beginning. We have 3 new cows milking now. The month came in mild and ended mild. So that is where I will finish today. And I must say that just thinking about the sap and tapping the trees, it really amazes me to think that many of those trees that Uncle Ernest and his father would have tapped are possibly still standing in the bush on our family farm at this moment. So I will leave you there. Thank you again for listening.